Hello and welcome to our video series which sees me, creative head editor Amanda Nottage, chatting to some of Wella's leading creatives from across the industry. I'm going to be chatting to them about their inspirations, their career paths, their workspace and anything else that might pop up along the way. Now joining me today is Jordanna Cobella. She's the owner of Cobella and also a Wella Passionista. Jordanna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you here. Now, what exactly is a Passionista? I love the word, but I want to know what it means.
So, Wella Passionista is basically like a Wella representative. So you can be an individual stylist, you can have your own salon, so long as you're using Wella products and you're producing quite good imagery and you've got a really good background knowledge of the technology and the products, you can join a Wella Passionista group. And what that means is Wella will give you the opportunities to do shoots, to network with other people, to chance and try out the new products and go to all the product launches. It's quite an exciting hunt.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is actually.
I'm going to have a word, see if I can become a Passionista. Now, you're here with us today. Yes. We're going to chat about all things hair, but it wasn't always thus. No. You started out on a very different path. Yeah. You trained and have, in your back pocket, a law degree. Yep. At what point, in all of those years of training very hard, I mean, it's not easy.
So weird to think that.
At what point did you think, no, this isn't for me, I want to do hair? Because obviously, both parents, very successful hairdressers, so hair has been in the family, it's been in your life.
In the blood, definitely. I was told by my parents, look, you cannot join hairdressing just because we both are. So they were really, really adamant that I did something really academic, and I ended up going to law school. Well, I really enjoyed learning law. Right. But there's no way I could have done that full time. So what I did on the weekends is I worked in our Selfridges salon, which is only around the corner from a university. And I loved it. I just loved it. I loved learning it. I loved serving the customers, being reception. And I thought, I'm going to show them. I'm going to get my law degree, and I'm going to come out of law school and I'm going to join hairdressing. But what I actually did in between, which not many people know about, is I volunteered as a police officer for like a year and a half.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So I had to get, obviously, work experience being on the law degree, and they kind of tell you that you need to go and get experience in the legal field. I thought there's no way I'll be able to sit in an office doing, you know, paralegal work. Right. So I applied to be a police officer. And I got it. I trained for a year. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that's another thing that haunts me in my past sometimes. But you know what? It made me realise that there are so many transferable skills from policing to hairdressing.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Yeah. So aside from the handcuffs, which presumably are always in your kit bag, what have you brought from policing to hair?
Yeah, definitely it's people skills. Right. It's managing situations, managing expectations, adapting to your audience and reading them emotionally. Emotional intelligence is what I got from the police and what will always stay with me. And what I'm actually also getting from the hairdressing industry, I think there is so much more to just the actual action of hair and the results that we can create physically, but also the human connection. Yeah.
I'm asking everybody who's sitting in the chair in front of me about colour in particular. Colour's having such an incredible time right now. When did you get that vibe with colour that, yeah, this is something that I particularly want to work with?
I suppose it was when I first learned hairdressing, I got involved with cutting, and I was taught to master that first and then move on to colouring, because it was all a bit too much to learn at once. When I realised the artistry and discipline involved in colouring and the risks and chances that you could take, I realised it's a minefield in itself, but also the loyalty that clients feel they have with you when they come to you for a colour, I think is actually greater. Right. And so colour for me is super exciting. I think it's amazing to be the best at in your field, simply because I feel like there's a little bit more artistry involved nowadays than there was back in I don't know, 40 years ago. Simply down to all the technology that's available. Because not only have you got an incredible palettes to choose from in the Wella colour portfolio, but also the finishing. Is it saturated? Is it sheer? Is it luminous? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it both? I love that. And I think the last 5 years have been the most exciting time as a colourist, really.
I am going to ask you, if you had to assemble the Jordanna Cobella dream team, who would you want on there? And I'm going to say right now, don't feel under any pressure to have mum or dad join you on there.
No. So about a year ago, I probably would have said, yeah, I need my mum by my side.
Well, you know, having Beverly C on the team would have been pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's epic. But now I feel like I'm really building my own identity and branding. And so I'm really influenced by political movements and activists and graphic designers who are quite clever in telling a story. And Banksy is one of my favourite sort of influences.
That'd be pretty
incredible
he'd be on the to have him on the team.
Yeah. I probably would say Paolo Versi is my most favourite photographer. I think he's epic. Like the way he captures movement in photography. Who else would I have? My work wife, Stephanie. She's amazing. We bounce off each other creatively, and she's a makeup artist as well.
Brilliant.
But yeah, it's a hard one to think about. Like,
I know.
Because it's like rough. Weird people in the same room. But yeah, dream team. I'll keep dreaming.
So how long now have you been hairdressing? Has it been about...
It's been about 6.5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the key lesson that you have learned across those 6-7 years? If you had one thing to pass on to somebody coming into the industry, it would be this one key piece of advice. I think for me, it would probably be enjoying the journey, because there's always a goal that you set yourself, no matter what industry you're in. You set yourself a goal, and then you might achieve that goal or come close to achieving that goal, but you don't necessarily enjoy the little steps of success along the way, and learn to love the pace at which you're becoming successful, rather than only thinking, I can't wait to get there. Do you know what I mean? Has that been a lesson you've kind of been forced to learn? Were you guilty of not stopping to smell the flowers? Yeah,
I think because I'd done a law degree, I thought, oh, I can do this. I can learn hairdressing in a week. And then I thought, wow, there's so much discipline involved, and I was a bit impatient. And I see it in the assistants that I mentor now at my salon. And it's really hard to teach them that, because you can only learn from experience, so you can't really pass on that knowledge. But it really did hold me back for a little bit, like not enjoying the journey, not loving the challenges and the breakdowns and the mistakes that you make. Obviously not going to have a smile on your face every day, but you have to learn to enjoy the journey that you go on, rather than only enjoy the reaps of the success, which doesn't actually last that long.
Okay, that's wise words. Yeah. Right? Now, you mentioned as a Passionista some incredible opportunities that you have, but I believe part of that is that you've been recording your journey with Wella, particularly on the Master Colour programme, for everybody to share with you. What have been kind of some of your key learnings from that? Because it's a very intensive course. I
think the biggest thing to take away is that you are armoured after you complete the programme. You feel absolutely armoured with every single fact, bit of knowledge, equipment, to deal with anything that comes your way. And being in quite an exciting time for colour, I feel like there's a lot of challenges that we face with home colouring, or, you know, DIY jobs, whatever it is that sits in our chair. We'll always face a moment of, don't know what lies beneath. So I feel like the more you can educate yourself, the better you are to deal with those moments, because it can be a big confidence knock when you don't feel like you've got the entire knowledge or skill set to deal with it. So it's incredible. I felt like I was literally colouring blind before I had done the colour programme, because it's not until you're about halfway through that you go, wow, now I realise the why. And it's all about the why, like why do you do that? Why does the hair react in a certain way? So I think that's the biggest thing I took away, is the understanding behind it.
And that journey of sharing digitally, do you find that the side of that, the social media, sharing on Instagram, does that add an extra pressure? Do you really enjoy that side of it? Or do you feel like sometimes, I don't want to do any of that, I just want to sit quietly and have a cup of tea? Yeah,
I did. And especially because there's so much to learn in the Wella Master Colour programme, that it was actually really hard for me to keep capturing content and hear what I'm hearing for the first time, like new facts, new bits of knowledge. So I ended up having to kind of double up and come to different days, just as a digital capture. But it was incredible. I think there's a lot of people that reached out to me on Instagram and said how incredible it was that they could sort of have an insight into what the colour programme would entail. Because it's a lot of money to part with. It's a big commitment. So you want to see a day in the life of, basically, and that's what I tried to do for Wella. Some people said it was successful, but it's still work in progress. So I do want to share as much of my journey with people as possible.
So you're owner now of Cobella.
Yes.
You're Wella Passionista. So much going on. Your session work as well. Where do you go to have quiet Jordanna time to plan out ideas, shoots you might have coming up? Do you have a studio? Do you have a place that is kind of your safe place?
It's so weird to say, but I've got a shelf across my bath that I place my laptop on and work from when I'm in the bath.
Okay.
I know, it's so strange, but I just feel most relaxed in the bath, and so I browse on Pinterest on my laptop. Not even my phone, my laptop, because I need it to be a big screen. Yeah. And I sit there for hours on end, topping up the bath water. Yeah, getting wrinkly. It's awful, isn't it? My pink hair dye on. But yeah, that's my safe place.
What are you working on next? What have you kind of got your teeth into at the moment that perhaps you can share a little tease with us?
I've just launched our new colour menu at Cobella. So
fantastic. What would we see?
I've wiped out all of the words that we use, like root tint, highlights, balayage, because I've realised that I think if we can try and show how bespoke and individualistic colouring services can be, the better chance we have of kind of honing into that craft and sharing that with our clients. So I came up with the idea of actually naming, similar to how sort of Zoe Owen did for headmasters, like naming the blow dries, but mine was sort of naming colours. So I came up with the Cobella colour contour. Again, obviously, you still have to factor in that there's a lot of tweaking that can be done for each client, because it shouldn't be set for one client. And the second service is Amplify Me, which is like a thickening technique designed for sort of my length hair or a bit longer. And then the third one is called 3D Blonde.
Oh,
yeah. And that's for like sort of highlight clients who are a little bit bored and want to play around, but not too wild kind of thing. So it's just a warm and cool placement sitting next to each other. It's really nice.
And who is your client in the salon? Have you got quite a mix, or are they quite traditional? Or
we've got traditional bread and butter clients who I absolutely adore. I think everyone should adore the bread and butter.
Absolutely.
Because they're the ones that give you the opportunities like today, or even becoming a Wella Passionista. And then we've also got a really nice young professional clientele who work in media, because we're quite close to the Daily Mail, the Metro, Universal Studios, Warner Brothers. So we've got really nice young professional.
Now, salon, session, Passionista, digital influencer. Already you've achieved an enormous amount, really, when you think what you've packed into 6-7 years.
Thank you.
What is also on that hit list, that to-do list of ambitions?
Oh God, quite a lot. It girl this year.
Hey.
Most wanted. But also, I think I just love to contribute towards the industry and where it's going, where it might lead to, and inspiring others to join the industry, because I go to a lot of schools now. Yeah, it's quite a recent thing that I've been doing, but it's nerve-wracking. Calling the headmistress and asking for a careers day or careers speech or slot. But I've really enjoyed it.
What kind of reaction are you getting, and what kind of age are you speaking to?
Year 7s, year 8s and 9s, so that's what maybe from the age of 12 years old till about 18.
Yeah.
And they're great, they're amazing, and they love coming to the salon to just watch for the day. And they have a really, really nice perception of hairdressers.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I love going to schools and shouting about the industry. But one of my biggest passions for my team would be finding ways to evolve the industry, the flexibility of the industry as well. For example, when we look at makeup or music industry or beauty industry, the flexible working hours, and we're definitely sort of moving into that way. But I feel like there's a few other things we can do to work smarter, not necessarily harder, because all of those factors combined are what makes the industry admirable, or desirable to the aspiring hairdresser who might think of applying. And I think we do have to kind of evolve maybe our business structures. I'm not sure what it is. I have got into trouble saying this before because I don't want to offend people. But there's definitely ways we can evolve the industry and the business structure of a salon. And I'd like to contribute to that.
Fantastic. Well, Jordanna, thank you so much for your time today. I cannot wait to see what you get up to next.
Thank you so much.
You.